guys, so today's back to school mini series Glitter Gossip is going to be about Sorority Rush and my experience with it and just my tips and advice and that kind of stuff. So I tweeted and I asked you guys to send me some questions to answer in this video, and I got a lot of response from you guys, which is nice because it means that some of you guys are going to find this video useful at least. So the first question is, what is a sorority? Which I thought would be good to like start this video answering that, because I know that sororities are only in America. A sorority is something that you join in college or in university, because isn't college like high school in Europe? It's kind of like a club that you can join in college. I mean, it's like kind of like a club, I guess. Basically, it's outside of your classes, so it's an extracurricular thing you do on the side to make you well-rounded. So it's a social club, so you actually, there's like lots of parties involved. You have like a really packed schedule outside of classes. It is very time consuming, but it is very well worth it, I think. It kind of gives you that like social life on the side of all of your classes in college, which is important to learn to balance that. So you'll have like parties with your sorority, and my sorority, we were really like, we had a packed schedule. We had like 4 things every single week, and some of the things are mandatory, some aren't. The social things, the parties, are not mandatory. You do not have to go to them, but there are things that are mandatory. There are philanthropy events, which is like charity-centered events. Every sorority has like a charity that they're kind of helping out. Ours was Women Against Domestic Violence. So we would help raise money through philanthropy events throughout the year to help donate to domestic violence centers in the cities near us. And then there are also things called sisterhood events. And every sorority will do things a little bit differently, and every school will do things differently. So even if I'm sitting here saying like sisterhood events, but your school calls it something different or does something different, every school is a little bit different. This is just kind of the basics of my experience. So sisterhood events are kind of like bonding experiences. Get very close to them. They're kind of like your family at school, especially if you go to school kind of far away. They kind of become like your little family. It sounds really cliche, but it's actually really cute and fun. We did one that was so fun. We went on a haunted hayride together like during October one year, and that one was really fun. Once you get initiated into your sorority, you're a lifetime member. So even though in college you're kind of the most active with your sorority and you're living with your chapter and hanging out with them every day, that you call your group that you're in a chapter, like AKO at my school was its own chapter. And even though you're kind of in college, you're at your peak with it, even when you graduate, you can get in alumni chapters throughout the country. Second question is, how does the rush process work? That's when you decide what sorority you want to be in and what sorority you do get in. So it's different at every single school. I'll tell you about my experience, but again, it's different at every school. I know some schools will do it the summer before you go into college, like the week before school starts. My school actually did it second semester, so you had all first semester to kind of make friends outside of your sorority and kind of get to know the sororities and, you know, what their reputations are and stuff like that, and kind of figure out which one you wanted to be. You will have a recruitment advisor. They're named different things at every school, but basically your recruitment advisor will tell you what you should wear to each round, what you should expect, what they're gonna be like, all of that stuff. And she's kind of gonna be your guide through Rush. She's the one that's going to come in the middle of the night to give you your bid cards to see which sororities asked you back to the next round. And she's kind of the girl that you can ask all your questions to, and she's in a sorority, but you don't know which one it is until after you get in your sorority. That way you aren't like biased. If you love your recruitment advisor, you don't want to be in her sorority just because you like her. It kind of stays really like unbiased. The way ours worked is first round was called open house, and you go to every single sorority. We had like 18 or some huge number at my school, and then you narrow it down to like 12. Depends also on whether they ask you back, so it's kind of like a mutual thing. You rank them, so like even if, and again, every school is different, but even if you rank, say you rank all 18 and you end up having to go back to like your 15th or 16th choice, if some of the ones in your top 12 didn't ask you back, you still get to go back to up to 12, if that makes sense, even if they weren't in your top 12. Anyway, and then it's kind of confusing, but your recruitment advisor will completely make sure that you know what's going on. I've done that side of Rush since freshman year, because all my other years I was already in the sorority, so I was experiencing it from the other side, which I can't talk about because it's very secretive. But yeah, so basically every round, the party, they're called parties. They're not really parties. They're more like meet and greets. You go to the sorority's suite or their house or however your school does it, and you kind of just meet with them and hang out with them. And each round's a little different. One of our rounds we did like philanthropy-based things based on that sorority. So we would do like little charity things. We would make like, in my sorority, we would make like little domestic abuse awareness bracelets. Like the girls would beat them. And it was just fun. You just interact with the girls. The most important and the most like emotional round is pref round, which is your top 3. And that's the rounds where you really, really are getting to the nitty gritty of deciding which one you want to go to of the 3 that you've been asked back to. And I was a little bit torn. I actually got asked back to my top 3 and loved my top 3. But the one I ended up getting into, which was AKO, was my top choice from the very first round. The very first time I walked into my sorority, the girl that met me at the door, like one of the girls from the sorority will most likely meet you at the door and kind of guide you so you don't feel like all by yourself. You get like assigned to an older girl. Mine ended up being my big sister in the sorority, so she was we like had a bond. We were like instant best friends, and she ended up, like I said, being my big sister, which you do get assigned to a big sister, and then your sophomore year you get a little, which I loved my little so much. Did you get hazed? It is a very, very common stereotype that sororities haze, which is basically when you get in, you have to do a bunch of bad stuff in order to like get in the group fully and get initiated. That is completely false. I can speak for my sorority completely. AKO is very, very, very against hazing. I did not get hazed at all. And every single sorority at my school like swore that they didn't haze. And I don't think any sorority at my school did haze, but I know for a fact that my sorority does not haze and is very, very, very against it. Hazing is very, very dangerous. And it's cruel. Why would you ever want to be in a group of sisters that are going to be mean to you? Like, that is not the point of a sorority. A sorority is to be in a group of really close girls that all hang out together and just enjoy college together. It's not meant to do anything bad. So the next question is kind of similar. It says, were you ever forced to do something demeaning to yourself or cruel to somebody else? Absolutely not. No, that is such a stereotype. And I think it did used to happen in some of the southern schools. I know I've heard of people that have been in certain sororities that did get hazed in southern schools, but I know hazing is really getting cut out. Panhellenic, which is like the overriding kind of board of all the sororities, is really cracking down on hazing, and it doesn't really happen anymore. Next question, I am a transfer student. I will be in my 3rd year. Can I still rush? You can still rush if you're a transfer student and you're not a freshman, but just being completely honest, a lot of sororities would prefer to have freshmen because they want to have the girls from the very beginning and kind of have you all 4 years. But I do know that we did take transfer students every single year that I was in the sorority helping rush in new girls. We did take transfer students. So I don't know. It might be a little different at your school, but I know that transfer students can rush. If you are a part of a sorority, can you still join other clubs at school and still have free time? Absolutely yes. You can't be in more than one sorority. I mean, I think that's kind of like an obvious thing. You can only be in one Greek sorority, but you can be in academic clubs and academic fraternities. So I was actually in an academic law fraternity as well in college, which was a completely academic thing with no like social life. It wasn't in the Greek system. It was kind of like through the school. It was for all like the pre-law majored kids. And we would do things like study for the LSAT together. We'd still have like the same, like we'd have initiation that was held at the courthouse. It was very serious. It wasn't any conflicting thing at all, and you can be in those. And even though fraternities are for boys, the academic things are still called fraternities, but they're co-ed. So you can be in like academic clubs, or like you can play sports, you can be a cheerleader, you can still do whatever you want. You just can't be in more than one Greek sorority. Are the outfits I wear during rush week going to affect my bid? So a bid is basically at the end of rush, you get presented with a card called a bid that is your official invitation to become part of whatever sorority you've been accepted to at the end. And I cried when I got my bid card, okay, so I'll tell you a quick story. I don't even know if I'm really supposed to tell this, but so I heard a rumor at my school that if you got into the sorority that I ended up being in, when you got your pref card, there would be like a little, this is just a plain envelope that I've been fanning myself off with because I was hot, that has like a little sticker, a seal thing on the back. And everyone was like, if you get into AKO, there will be a seal on your bid card. And I was so nervous because I wanted to get in it so badly. And when I got my bid card, there was no seal on my envelope. It was just a plain white envelope. And I got so nervous, and so I ripped it open, and turns out it was an AKO bid. Like, clearly that's the one that I'm in. I wish I had known that was a rumor, because I thought I was gonna pass out. You are kind of told what type of things to wear each round, so you're not just like shooting in the dark. Your recruitment advisor will tell you what kinds of things to wear. Just make sure that you're dressed cute. Don't dress like you're going on a date. Don't dress in a tiny mini skirt and a plunging neckline, and don't dress in super tight jeans where if you sit down your butt is going to show, because so many girls did that, and it was just like, we're in such crammed quarters. Just kind of be respectful with what you wear, and just know that you're meeting a bunch of girls, you're not going on a date, so it's kind of a different look. Another question about outfits is, should I try to make each outfit a little bit more conservative? I think the best advice I have for outfits is just to kind of be yourself and wear something that's going to make you feel super confident and super cute, and that way you can feel really good about yourself and just go in there and like rock it and make every sorority want to take you. What is pref round like? I kind of answered that already. Pref round is the most emotional round. It's the last one, and one thing that you have to remember, I know this video is getting so long, sororities want you to want them too. So they're selling themselves to you as much as you are selling yourself to them. And I think that as a freshman, when you're going through Rush, you kind of forget that you kind of feel like it's all their choice. Like, you're worried about, are they gonna cut you? Are they gonna ask you back? But it is a mutual thing. Like, you have to want them too, because there might be a sorority that really likes you that you do not decide to go to, and like they would have wanted you in their sorority till the end, and you cut them first round because you don't like them that much. It goes both ways, and so I think you just have to be confident and remember that. Pref round's kind of the round where the sorority has said, we love these girls that we have left, and now we need to show them why they need to pick us. So that's kind of how I got when I was rushing. That's kind of how I felt, is that by pref round, the sorority, the tables have kind of turned, and the sorority's like, this is why you should pick us, because X, Y, and Z, and you end up picking the one you want and you rank them, and then you get into one, hopefully. Okay, Rush is not as scary as it sounds either. Like, I was so nervous about Rush, and it was probably one of the most fun experiences I had at college. So my overall tips, because I need to start wrapping up this video, are be yourself, be overly friendly, really outgoing, be really nice to the girls, and just show them why you feel like you should be a part of their sorority. Ask them questions. Don't let them just ask you questions. You would be amazed at how many girls, like, as a sorority, so many girls will come in trying to rush and not say a word. Like, be like so stoic all through the entire round, where you're having to like pull out information from them, and that is not fun. So definitely like ask questions back and be communicative, and just kind of have a conversation and try to like be really laid back. Another great tip, oh my gosh, so many girls did not do this when we were rushing. So there might be rules during rush week. Like, your recruitment advisor might say, during the 2 weeks of rush or the 1 week of rush, you are not allowed to go out. We don't want to see you at any of, you know, the parties or anything. Like, you're not allowed. You need to stay in your dorms and be good through rush, because rush is a very like, it's kind of a silent time where you're not really supposed to be talking to the girls in the sororities. It's very like, you know, secretive, I guess. So follow those rules, because there were girls in my dorm that would go out and just like kind of ignore all of the advice and then get cut from the sororities they liked, and they'd be like, why did we get cut? Because you're not following the rules. And if the sororities see you out, because they're allowed to go out, like well, at my school, they were allowed to go out, but the freshmen were supposed to kind of, you know, they were just supposed to be respectful during that time. I think it's a great way to be well-rounded in college. You have the charity aspect, you have the social aspect, you have the studying groups, you have the sisterhoods. Like, I think that my sorority was one of the best, if not the best experience of college for me, and I would not have traded it for the world. It was the most amazing thing that I was a part of. It's also a really great way to meet people. I met Brittany, who is now one of my friends for life, through my sorority, and ended up living with her for 3 years in college, and so I would probably have never met her if I wasn't in my sorority. So it's a great way to meet new friends. One more thing you need to keep in mind is that sororities are different at every school. So even though I was an AKO at my school, AKO at another school might be a completely different vibe. Like, it's different at every school. You just have to go in, like, I don't want you guys to go into rush being like, I want to be an AKO because Elle's an AKO. If it's not the one that fits your personality at your school, then you need to go with the one that does, because if you try to force it and like a certain one just because your friend does, or just because whatever reason, it's not going to be the right fit for you. So just remember that at every school, you know, if you feel like you have the exact same personality as me and therefore maybe you should go AKO, but at your school you don't really feel like you fit in with that group, go with the one you fit into, because that's the way it should be anyway. And it's kind of funny because remember I was talking about my friend Teddy from 6th grade in my last Glitter Gossip? She ended up being an AKO at another school, and it was so random, and it's so funny now because we think about it. We're like, we always felt like we were sisters in middle school, and now we actually are. Oh, and Glitzy Glam is doing a new line. It's called Glitzy Glam Greek, and we are officially licensed by the Panhellenic Association to make things with the sorority letters on it. It's very strict. You can't just like make monogram things with sorority letters out of the blue and sell them. Like, you have to be licensed, and we are licensed for 12 different sororities, including AKO. So I will link Glitzy Glam Greek below. And if you are in a sorority, if you hold a position and you buy the party favors, you can email us for special pricing for large orders. So we will give discounts if a sorority wants to buy like a makeup bag for everyone in their group or whatever. So, or things for like Big Little Week or anything like that, we definitely will have some packages put together for that. This video was really long, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up and say bye to you guys, but I hope you're loving this mini series, and I will see you guys later. Bye.